I think that AI governance happens at many layers of the AI stack. So, one of the things we just talked about was the role of data in training AI systems. And there are a lot of efforts underway now to have more control over data, right? Thinking about how a community or an individual might have a more consensual relationship with the way that an AI system is being built. So, one area of governance is really around how do people build out these kind of data sets or relationships with data to make sure that systems work for them and the things that they want to do. The Mozilla Foundation has something they're launching called the Mozilla Data Collective, which is one approach at this, thinking about how people in different communities can create and control data sets. There's a lot of really interesting stuff also happening in the kind of distributed web community around local first AI systems, keeping the data close to home. So I think that there's a lot of technological innovation still to be done in terms of people's relationship with data.
Hmm.
Another area of AI governance is the goal setting, right? What does it mean to actually build things that people want? And this is something that's really close to my heart. So, as part of our work in community aligned AI benchmarks, we are building systems, specifically building systems of engagement for AI to actually rise to the occasion of important social challenges. We're focusing right now on food security, which is a huge space, as you can imagine. And so, one of the things that we've been doing is using some of these deliberative tools or collective intelligence processes. In our case, we ran a community priority survey with over 100 different experts in food security from around the world to not focus on the tech specifically, but again, focus on, well, what does it actually mean for tech to work for us? What are the things we want to achieve? What are the capabilities we wish we had help with? We had a bunch of early conversations as well with artists and creatives in this space, right? When people think about AI and art, oftentimes people have a very visceral negative reaction, like, ooh, I don't want AI making my art. I'm an artist because I want to be making the art. And yet, when we think about AI for artists, right, it may not actually be the art making process. It might be, billing. It might be chasing down your clients. It might be all these other aspects of life that a person working in a field might have. So one area of social governance and technological governance with AI is to step away from the tech we have and step toward um, surveys and deliberative processes to really get at the heart of what are the things we want to achieve. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we're doing this work of bridging between these worlds and translating people's priorities into technical goals. So I think there's work there. And then finally, one of the big things that we see in this space, and I had the opportunity to work on this when I was working in Congress. When I worked in Senator Wyden's team, I had the honor of working on the Algorithmic Accountability Act, which is a bill that focuses on how we can better understand the impact of these technologies in people's lives. And specifically, there, what we set out to do was focus on the kind of downstream impact, the measurement of what are the changes to decisions when we use these tools. And I think one of the things that's really challenging about AI governance is that we often don't start with a baseline. We often don't actually know what the as is scenario is before we introduce the technology. And so, one thing I think we can do, which connects to this piece about collective data governance, is really begin to actually set that baseline and understand what's happening today. What are the narratives qualitatively and quantitatively? What are the things that are happening before we introduce technology into the scenario so that we can better understand what the change is and be able to monitor for whether we like that change or not?